warships from the Pacific Fleet have entered into the Red Sea, and this comes amidst attacks by Yemen's Houthis on merchant shipping in a region that is already crowded with naval vessels. The Russian Navy's Pacific Fleet has said that the Russian cruiser Varyag and also the frigate Marshal Shapushenko are taking part in the voyage. The two warships have in fact passed the Bab el-Mandeb Strait into the Red Sea. And this move has forced many ship owners and operators to suspend the Suez Canal or the Red Sea route for transporting goods from Europe to Asia and vice versa. Now, the Russian news agency TASS has reported that the Russian ships were carrying out assigned tasks within the framework of the long-range sea campaigns. The ultimate destination of the ships at this moment is unclear from the report, as was the reason as to why Russia sent these vessels to the area. The Houthis have been targeting vessels that predominantly belong to the Israelis, the Americans and the Brits from passing through the Red Sea corridor in solidarity with the Palestinians who are facing the brunt of the Israeli onslaught in the Gaza Strip. According to reports, the group has told China and Russia earlier in the month that the Chinese and the Russian ships will not be targeted by the Houthis and they can sail through the Red Sea corridor and the Gulf of Aden without being attacked. And this was in exchange for the two countries providing political support to the Houthis in bodies such as the United Nations. However, the US Central Command has reported about the Houthis firing a missile at the Chinese-owned oil tanker Huangpu. The CENTCOM has also highlighted the continued risks to shipping in the seas off the coast of Yemen despite the agreement. Now, this has come after Iran, Russia and China had held joint naval exercises in the Indian Ocean region earlier in the month. Both the Varyag and Marshal Shapushenko took part in the drills, which Russia said were in fact meant to practice safety in maritime economic activities. The Iran-backed Houthis have been attacking ships in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden since November. They're calling their campaign to be in solidarity with the Palestinians in this bruising Israeli onslaught on the Gaza Strip, in which over 32,000 Palestinians have been killed. The months of Houthi attacks in the Red Sea have disrupted international shipping, and it has also forced many shipping firms to reroute through the longer and the more expensive journeys from around the Cape of Good Hope in southern Africa. For all the latest news, download the WW3 app.
Alright, tensions are escalating in West Asia. According to reports, suspected Israeli warplanes have bombed Iran's embassy in Syria.
Now, Iran says the bombing killed 7 of its military advisors, including 3 of its senior commanders, and the bombing marks a major escalation in a war pitting Israel against its regional adversaries.
According to Iranian state media, one of those killed was Mohammad Reza Zahidi, a senior commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps. Tehran believes he was the target of the attack.
We told you before, Zionist entity knows very well that such crimes and any kind of crimes will not remain without response.
Iran says their response to the attack will be decisive. Moreover, Tehran is not alone in issuing a warning to Israel. Lebanon's Iran-backed Hezbollah group also warned Israel that they will pay the price for killing high-level Iranian Revolutionary Guards commander. In Damascus, the militant group says that the crime will not pass without the enemy receiving punishment and revenge.
On the other hand, hours after the strikes in Damascus, Israel Defense Forces spokesperson accused Iran of orchestrating a drone attack on Israel's naval base in Eilat.
Tonight, an unmanned aerial vehicle made and directed by Iran hit a naval base in Eilat. This is a very serious incident. Minor damage was caused to the facility and there were no casualties in the incident. We are investigating it in order to draw lessons and improve our defense capabilities in the area and its surroundings.
The Islamic resistance in Iraq, an Iran-backed group of militias, said in a statement that it had attacked a vital objective in Israel using appropriate weapons. It did not offer further details. While Israel's closest ally, the United States of America, has said that they are looking into reports about the strikes in Syria. The White House says President Joe Biden is aware of reports of Israeli airstrikes in Damascus.
So, look, I'm aware of the reports. Our team is looking into it, so I'm not going to get ahead of anything just yet. But obviously, we're aware of the reports, and our team is looking into it. I'm just not going to.
In Iran, protesters burned Israeli and American flags as they gathered in Tehran to condemn the attack on the Iranian embassy.
It's considered part of a country's territory. There should definitely be a firm response to this action. For us to sit quietly is not the right thing to do at all, because it would dare to target more positions, more assets, and people of Iran, and may tell itself why not Tehran next time, and fitting revenge must be taken.
All right, for more on this, we're now being joined by John Erath, Senior Policy Director for the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation. He is joining us from Washington, D.C. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on World DNA.
Thank you very much.
Now, sir, to begin with, Israel, it's not officially commented, but there are reports quoting sources which do say that some top IDF officers have in fact said that it was an Israeli strike. Do you reckon this marks a major escalation in the war between Israel and its regional adversaries?
Unfortunately, this is not the first time that there have been attacks going back and forth between Israel and Iran. Israel has taken out Iranian commanders and nuclear scientists in the past, and Iran has responded with terror attacks against Israeli interests. So unfortunately, this is yet another chapter in a very long and tragic story. There are, however, two things about this that do quite bother me. The first is it appears to have been a deliberate targeting of a diplomatic facility, the Iranian consulate in Syria. Diplomats are there to promote peace and dialogue, and if they become targets of aggression, they can't do their job, and hopes of peace are that much less. The second is that apparently the cover of the diplomatic facility was being used for military purposes by Iran, which is part of the same problem. If it is not being used as a diplomatic facility, then that's an abuse of the diplomatic privilege.
Mr. Erath, I also wanted to get your thoughts on this. And now we have seen strikes between Israel and Iran. Iran obviously responds with its proxies in the region. Israel has been going out against its military installations. This time they've also targeted the embassy there. How do you feel Iran is going to respond to this? They've already mentioned that they are going to take a decisive response. How do you see this one coming back from Iran's side?
This is fairly normal rhetoric from the Iranian side. I expect that there will be further terror incidents. I expect that Iran would use proxies the way it has before, particularly Hezbollah and Hamas, to conduct some attacks against Israeli interests. I don't have any special insight as to where and when this might happen, but I would not be surprised if it does.
All right, sir. Of course, just some more clarity on this. You've, of course, touched on this already. Most Iranian proxies in the region are already involved. How far do you see this conflict expanding going from here? You say that this is just another chapter. How many more of these are we going to see?
If I knew that question, I'd be in line for a Nobel Prize. The story is very long and very tragic, and I don't think we're nearly at an end to it.
Right.
It's also difficult to see how much more it can expand and how much worse it can get. I greatly fear there are going to be more lives lost and more tragedy in the region before we see any improvement.
All right. Well, Mr. John Erath, thank you so much for joining us on World DNA with your insights on this. Always a pleasure to have you.